Hi, I'm Leslie. Welcome to Yoga Flow. Today's practice will be about turning inward, so there will be a lot of forward folds. It's not necessarily going to be an easy class, though. There'll be slow flow. It'll be an intermediate level. We don't need any special props today, but there'll be a triangle pose and a side angle pose, so if you know you'd like to have blocks for that, the 2 blocks will be helpful. So we will start in child's pose, please. So go ahead and come down with your knees wide, your big toes together, and sink your hips back over your heels and reach your arms forward. Let the head rest on either the floor. If it doesn't reach the floor, let your head come to a block. And then once your head is down and your hips are reaching back, let your eyes close and please find your breath here. Breathing through the nose. You're observing your spine lengthening back. Your ribs have a little more freedom here to move laterally on the inhale and back in on the exhale. The breath should be smooth here now and full. And on your next inhale, let's come up to all fours and begin to move into the spine. So find your cat-cow, arching and rounding here. Inhale, you arch, you tilt the tailbone and the head up, and exhale, you round, you draw the navel up and back, push into the hands, and then again, inhale, arch. And next time you exhale, let's come back again to child's pose, hips back over the heels. Now look forward, slide your hands forward, and then just slither down onto the belly all the way down. Fingers under the shoulders. Inhale, come up to cobra. Exhale, back to all fours. Inhale, up to high kneeling. Interlace the fingers behind you. Push into the tops of the feet and lift up through the heart. Exhale, place the hands down under the shoulders. Let's do that again. Inhale and arch through the spine. Exhale, round, coming into your cat shape. Inhale and arch, look forward, tailbone tilts up. Exhale, take the hips back over your heels, child's pose. Now look forward and just let your hands kind of slither forward, sink your body low all the way down to the ground. Set up for cobra. Inhale, lift through the heart. Exhale, hands walk back under you. Come up to high kneeling. Arms interlace behind you. Push the knuckles down, lift up through the heart. Push your toenails down, all 10 toenails. And then lower your hands to the floor. Let's come into downward facing dog. Exhale here. Just resume the normal breath. Now, if this is your first downward dog of the day and you want to shift around a little bit, maybe alternate bending your knees, maybe shifting the hips up and down, whatever feels nice for you to create the space in your body, you can do. Spread your fingers and now find a stillness in the body in this pose, just reaching your thigh creases back. Let's bring the left foot into the midline, just an inch or so. Inhale your right leg up into the air, open the hip and bend the knee. So pull the heel in closer towards the hip and try to level out through your armpits. So bring the left center armpit a little upward. Let's straighten the right leg, square off the hips, and step the right foot between your hands. Inhale, reach the arms up to Anjaneyasana. Exhale, hands to the floor and send your hips back to half Hanumanasana. Here's where you might want the blocks under your hands if this is too much for the hamstrings. Come back forward into the front foot and let's step all the way to the top of the mat, lengthen halfway. Exhale and fold down, Uttanasana. Push into the feet, rise up to stand. Reach the arms up at the top, interlace the fingers, press the palms up. Exhale, side bend to the right. Inhale, come up. Exhale to the left. Inhale, come up. Push the four corners of the feet down. Exhale, come forward and down, right down through center. Inhale, bend your knees and lengthen your spine halfway. Step the right foot back, lower the knee. Inhale, your right arm circles up and around. Bring the hand to the back hip. Inhale, your left arm comes up and stay here. So your tailbone is lengthening down. Your heart is lifting up. Lift up through the heart and reach back. And we're going to come into a twist. So let the left arm come forward. Take the right arm around behind you and forward, and then bring the right elbow to the outside the left knee. Palms come together and twist to the left. Keep reaching forward through the crown of the head. Curl your back toes under and straighten your back leg. Now let's reach the arms around in front of you and over to the right. Pivot your feet to the right. Come to a side lunge at the back of your mat. So you're facing the right side of the mat into a skandasana, and then you'll shift back and forth. Now you can use the hands on the floor to support you, or you can bring the hands together at your heart and try to push the weight straight down into the feet, like your feet are getting really heavy and you're pushing down as you sidle from side to side. So I find that this helps to stabilize the ankles and the knees a little more when I'm pushing the weight down. Let's do one more to each side. And when you end up at the top of the mat, you'll come to a runner's lunge, face forward. Keep pivoting your feet around to face the left. Your right hand is just forward of the shoulder, and slowly lower your right hip down. You might need to heel toe your left foot down the mat a little bit so you can get the right hip down, and then your left arm is reaching around behind you and you turn and twist to face the back of the mat. Can you push your right foot down so the knee is pointing up? Sorry, that would be I don't know which foot is right and left anymore. The right foot. We're kind of in a pretzel shape. Reach your hand around it is your left foot. Reach your hand around for your left foot. Let's reach the leg up into the air. Now let's come down a little bit with the upper body. So you can either walk your right hand forward or you can come down onto the elbow. The elbow will be more stable. We're going to try to balance here. So pick up your bottom leg, keep it straight, and lift it up. You're kind of balancing right on this right butt cheek. And then lower the left leg down. Lift the left leg up, trying to balance here. Lower back down. You can be on the forearm if that will help a bit. Inhale, lift your bottom leg up. Exhale, bottom leg comes down. Release your top foot. Lower all the way down onto your forearms. Come into Sphinx pose, facing forward. Pause here. Broaden across the collarbones, lift up through the crown of the head. One more breath. And bend your elbows out so you lower the heart down, and let's come all the way up to all fours. Inhale, and come back to child's pose. Exhale. Let the forehead rest down. Come back up to all fours. Inhale. Spread your fingers, curl your toes, downward facing dog. Exhale. Pause here and breathe. Here we go, other side. Bring your right foot more into the midline of the mat. Inhale, your left leg rises behind you. Open the hip up and bend the knee. Pull the heel in towards you. Can you keep the center of the right armpit hovering? And then straighten the back leg, square your hips. Step the left foot through between your hands. Inhale, your arms rise up, Anjaneyasana. And exhale, your hands come down to the floor. Send your hips back to half Hanumanasana, half splits. Hands on blocks if you need to. Spread the toes. And then let's come forward into the left foot and step all the way forward to forward fold Uttanasana at the top of the mat. Let the head just hang here a moment. And on your next inhale, bend the knees softly, rise up to stand, arms reach up at the top. Inhale, interlace the fingers, push your palms up. Exhale, side bend to the left. Inhale, back up. Exhale, over to the right. Inhale, come up, keep the legs firm, and exhale, come right back down through center Uttanasana. Lengthen halfway, bend your knees. Inhale, step the left foot back, lower the knee. Inhale, your left arm circles up and around, the hand comes to the low back, and your right arm just stays up. Look up, send the hips forward, push down into the right foot. Lengthen the tailbone down, lift up through the heart. And then as your right arm circles down, your left arm comes back and around behind you and over to the right knee. Bring your hands together and twist to the right. Curl the back toes under, and let's straighten the back leg. Try to hug your outer hips in towards the midline, lengthen out through the back leg. Take this into our side lunge. So let's reach the arms forward and then pivot on your feet to the left side of the mat and side lunge in your left knee or your back leg. And then we'll just shift back and forth here. So either hands can follow along with you or palms together and push down into the feet. So think of being like very low center of gravity here. Pushing your weight down as you shift side to side. And do one more to each side. When you end up at the top of the mat, you'll stay there and turn and lunge facing the front. Now keep pivoting your feet to the right. Come onto your left hand and heel toe your right foot down, 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 just enough so the left hip can come down. Take the right arm around behind you and look to the back of the mat. So you're trying to get the whole sole of your right foot down, turning the torso towards the back leg. Now your right hand comes around and reaches for the right big toe. You're going to take your right leg up and bring your left hand a little more forward here, trying to balance on your left butt cheek here. Going to be tricky, so you can come onto the forearm if you like. Woo, I'm a little more wobbly on this side, so lift your bottom leg up and take it down. Can you stay off of your right glutes? You're only on the left glutes on the ground. Lifting and lowering bottom leg. One more. Take it down, release the top big toe, come back down, facing downwards, both of your forearms down, Sphinx pose, pause here. Tops of the feet down, collarbones are broad. Now lift the base of your skull up off of your shoulders. As you're breathing, the breath is the most important part of your practice. This is what's really going to get the mind to focus, the nervous system to settle. And then let's take the elbows out, lower the chest, and push up to all fours. Inhale and come back again, downward facing dog. If the heels do not come down to the ground, it's quite all right. You can do this pose with your heels lifted, with your knees bent. At some point, if you keep with your yoga practice, the heels will probably come down, but if they don't, that's okay. We all have different body types, different things going on in our bodies. Most importantly, I want you to lengthen the spine so your hips are moving back. You're pushing your hands into the floor. And then let's look forward and walk the feet to the top of the mat. Lengthen halfway there. Fold on the exhale. Push down into your feet and inhale, rise up to stand, arms come up at the top. Hands to your heart, exhale. Surya Namaskar A, sun salutations, lower the arms down. Push down equally into your feet. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, come forward and down, Uttanasana. Lift the flesh of your thighs up. Bend your knees, lengthen halfway, inhale. Step or float back and you'll move through your chaturanga, bending the elbows back. Inhale into your upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale to downward facing dog. Repositioning the hands if they became unsymmetrical or asymmetrical. Take a look at your hands, just check that they're even and symmetrical. Push into the hands, spread the fingers, reach the heels back. Reach the tops of your thighs back. One more breath. Lift the heels, bend the knees, look forward, step or jump to the top of the mat. Lengthen halfway when you get there, inhale. Exhale and fold. Push straight down into the feet, inhale, come up to stand, arms reach up. Let's do one more like that. Exhale, right back down through center, hands come down, bend the knees, inhale, lengthen forward. Step or float back through your vinyasa, lower chaturanga, hover the head of the arm bones. Inhale, upward facing dog, shoulders back. Exhale, downward facing dog. We pause here for just a few breaths. Try to widen the inner shoulders out. Get some space for the side of the neck. Lift your heels, bend the knees, look forward. Step or jump to the top. Lengthen halfway, inhale. Fold on the exhale. Push into the feet. Rise up to stand, arms reach up. Hands to the heart, exhale. We're going to start adding on to those sun salutations. We'll add more standing poses. Lower the arms down, push into the feet, inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward and down. Bend the knees, reach the spine forward, step or float back lightly through your vinyasa. Rise up through your back bend, inhale, downward facing dog, exhale. This first variation actually won't be standing poses, it'll be some core work. So let's inhale, lift the right leg behind you. Exhale, bring the right knee forward. Now take the right leg straight back and hover it in your plank. Bring the knee forward. Lift the right leg up, three-legged dog. Place the foot straight down. Inhale, left leg rises. Exhale, left knee comes forward, shoulders over wrists. Inhale, take the left leg straight back and hover it. Exhale, bring the knee forward, still in plank. And then inhale, three-legged dog, lifting the left leg and lower the foot. Inhale, your right leg rises behind you. Exhale, your right knee comes forward. Straighten your right leg back. Bring the leg forward, knee forward. Jump switch your legs so your left knee is forward. Take the left knee back. Bring the knee forward. Step or jump switch your feet. Right leg straight back. Right knee forward. Step or jump switch. Left leg back. Left leg forward. And we'll just finish up with the left leg up behind you, three-legged dog, and then place the foot down, downward facing dog. Shift forward to plank pose. Bring the right knee forward. Now just jump switch your feet and keep going like this, like you're running in place or scrambling in place, just hopping. One knee pulls forward, the other leg straightens. And let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Downward facing dog. Now if your heart rate has quickened a little bit from that or your breath has sped up, just notice the changes. Observe them, smile at them. Look forward, step or jump to the top of the mat. Lengthen halfway, inhale. Fold on the exhale. Push down into the feet, inhale. Rise up to stand, arms reach up. Hands to the heart, exhale, and just pause here. Mountain pose. Close your eyes, let the shoulders soften down. Just containing the breath here. We're not trying to shorten it. We're not trying to keep it in the upper chest. We're just casting a big net around the breath, but still containing it. It still has space. And again, lower the arms down. Push into the feet. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward and down. Uttanasana. Bend your knees, inhale, lengthen halfway. Step or jump back. Plank pose, lower chaturanga. Keep the head of the arm bones hovering. Inhale, upward facing dog, shoulders back. Exhale, downward facing dog. We're going to do a mandala where we move from the front to the back of the mat. So I will talk you through this. Inhale, your right leg rises behind you. Exhale, right knee to right elbow, shoulders over wrists. Inhale, right leg reaches back, three-legged dog. Exhale, your right knee points forward in plank pose. Inhale, right leg rises behind you. Exhale, right knee points to the left elbow. Now take your right foot directly out to the left side of your mat and lift your left arm up. So this is a variation of side plank. Your back heel is down. This is called fallen triangle. If you want to try something a little bit extra, pick up your bottom leg and hover it, or hold your right foot with your top hand. If you're holding the foot, release the foot back down. Slide the right heel away from you until the hip comes down. Legs are wide. Swing your upper body low to the ground towards the back of your mat. Place the left hand down, lift your right arm up. Either hip stay down or lift your hips up. Weight is in your left hand. And then lower the hips down. Swing your body low to the ground, back to the front of the mat. Place the hands down under the shoulders. Now curl your back toes under. Lift your front leg up just enough so you get the outer right thigh directly under you, and then lower the outer thigh down and lower the chest down and look to the right. Your back toes are curled under. There's an internal rotation of your back leg. You want to keep the back of the hips nice and wide here. And then we're going to unwind this to three-legged dog. So lift your upper body, lift your hips, unwind the right leg, send it up into the air behind you, three-legged dog, and then step the right foot between your hands. Inhale, rise up to crescent warrior, arms reach up. Exhale, hands come out to the side and down, and you straighten your front leg. So here's where you might want blocks under your hands. We're going to flow in and out of those two poses. So bend your front knee, weight in the heel, rise up, crescent warrior. Exhale, hands to the floor, and your front leg straightens, pyramid pose. And again, bend the front knee, inhale, rise up to crescent warrior. Exhale, hands to the floor, straighten the front leg. Shift forward to a regular lunge. Step back to downward facing dog. Level out your hands, level out your feet. One more breath here. All right, same thing to the left. Lift your left leg behind you. Exhale, left knee points to left elbow. Shoulders over wrists. Inhale, left leg rises back, three-legged dog. Exhale, your left knee points forward in a plank pose. Inhale, your left leg rises back behind you. Exhale, point your left knee to the right elbow. Now take your left foot all the way out to the right side. Leg is straight. And the weight is going to come into your left hand. Your right arm comes up. You want to check that the left wrist is under the shoulder. It's not behind or farther down behind the shoulder. You can stay here or try to hover your bottom leg, maybe taking the top hand and holding the bottom leg. And then release that bottom foot down, reach the top arm up. Now you're going to slide your bottom heel away from you until the hips come down. Swing low to the ground towards the back of your mat. Right hand comes down, left arm reaches up, or you can lift the hips up as well. Lower the hips back down. Exhale, low to the ground, swing the spine low to the ground, back to the top of the mat. Place the hands under the shoulders, curl your back toes under, lift the front hip just enough so you slide the center of the outer left thigh directly under you, and then lower the outer thigh down. Heart comes down, turn the head to the left. Keep lengthening out through the back leg with the toes curled under, so it's an internal rotation. And then lift up the heart, lift the hips, unwind the left leg, send it up into the air behind you, three-legged dog. Exhale, step the left foot between your hands. Inhale, rise up to crescent warrior. Remember this crescent to pyramid 3 times. So exhale, your hands come down, floor or blocks, straighten your front leg. Bend the front knee. Inhale, rise up. If you keep the weight in the heel, it'll help with balance as you come up. Exhale, bring the hands down, straighten the front leg. Inhale, bend the knee, rise up, last one. Arms reach up. Exhale, hands to the floor or the blocks, straighten the front leg. And then just find a lunge and downward facing dog. If you want to rest in child's pose for 5 breaths or so, you can, or just stay here in downward facing dog. And just deepen the breath. Still breathing through the nose. An Ujjayi breath, by the way, does help to create more buoyancy in the body. It makes the practice a little lighter. So Ujjayi is that slight constriction to the back of the throat. You breathe through the nose, and your breath will sound like a whisper. If you're in child's pose, come back to downward dog. And then let's lift the heels, bend the knees, look forward, step or jump to the top of the mat. Lengthen halfway when you get there. Inhale. Exhale, fold in Uttanasana. Push down into the feet, bend the knees a little bit, come up to stand, arms reach at the top. Hands to your heart, exhale, pause. Close the eyes. Push down into both of the feet equally. Lift up through the crown of the head. Soften the shoulders down. One more breath. Lower the arms down. We got one more flow like this. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, come forward and down. Bend the knees, lengthen halfway. Inhale. Now if you jump back, can you land really lightly? So keep the weight in your hands. Lightly jump the feet back. Lower chaturanga. Jumping is always optional. You can always step. Inhale, upward dog. You can always do cobra if you choose. Downward facing dog. Lift the right leg behind you. Inhale. Step the right foot between your hands. Inhale, rise up to crescent warrior. Exhale, take it to warrior 2. Whoops, there goes my balance. Lower the back heel. Bend your front knee 90 degrees. Reach your arms out to the side. Imagine your arms are just floating on the surface of a pool, so you don't need to stress your shoulders here. Keep the shoulders soft. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, forearm to thigh, side angle pose. You can either stay here if this is enough for you. This is a common way to express this pose. If you want to take it a little farther, you can bring your right hand down. This is where I recommend having a block. Have a block outside your right foot. Keep your back leg foot pushing down And then reach out, up and out through your top arm. Can you turn the chest towards the wall that you're looking at here? So towards this, the long edge of your mat. And turn the heart a little more open. Keep pressing into the back foot. Push into the front foot. Inhale, come up, reverse your warrior. And then warrior two. Now you're just going to pivot your feet to face the other way. Warrior two towards the back of your mat. This time your left toes facing the back of the mat. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Straighten your front leg. Come into Trikonasana, triangle pose. Left hand on the shin or on a block. Right arm reaches up and then turn the heart open. Push into the back foot. Reach the spine long out of your pelvis. Most importantly, fill your body with your breath. Fill the shape of this pose with your breath. Fill the space around you with your breath. Inhale, rise up. Parallel your feet. Check that your feet are symmetrical. Hands on your hips. Lift up through the spine. Inhale. And hinge forward from your thigh creases, hands to the floor. Lengthen halfway and then walk your hands in between your feet. Let the head rest downwards. Your head is pointing down. Elbows can be bent here and the elbows point back behind you. Try not to lock out the back of the knees. You might need to keep a soft bend in your knees. Now shift your upper body towards your right leg. Don't adjust the legs. You might need to bend the knees a little more here. That's fine, but don't adjust the feet. And hold on to the outer ankle of your right leg. And if it's available to you, just get your upper body in even closer to the right leg and give the right thigh a big bear hug. Wrap your arms around the right thigh, just above the knee. Crown of your head is pointing down towards your right foot. Your knee can be bent if it needs to. Now if you're hugging the right leg, release it, hands to the floor. And let's turn the right toes forward, bend the right knee 90 degrees, and reach the arms out long at a diagonal to the left. So your hands are just beyond the top left corner of the mat. Your spine is angled towards the top left corner of the mat. Push into the back foot, hug your outer right hip in. So let's try to get the right thigh bone parallel to the long edge of your mat. And your head is just resting in this right between the arms. Your ribs are coming down towards the inner, or the right ribs anyway, are coming down towards the inner right thigh. Push into the back foot, reach your arms long, get your spine long. Now we're going to see if a bound side angle is here for us today. And if it's not, I'll show you the option. A half bound side angle would be your right forearm on the thigh and your left arm is wrapped around you in a half bind and you're reaching out through the crown of the head. A full bind, you get the right shoulder inside the knee. You can keep your top arm wrapped around you here. You can either keep the right hand on the floor just inside the foot, or you reach the right arm under the leg and reach back towards the back hip and clasp the hands. And then, here's the tricky part, push the head forward, not out to the side. You're trying to reach the crown of the head straight forward, kind of in line with your right toes. Take your top shoulder back, lean back. Unwind. Release the hands. Just come to a runner's lunge facing forward. We'll lengthen out through the back here in our runner's lunge. So get level through the back of your hips. And then we'll counterpose that by placing the left hand down under the shoulder and the right arm comes up. Just a revolved side angle pose. lower the outer edge of the back foot down. Step your right foot back, side plank, Vashisthasana. We're going to lower the right forearm down. So lower right forearm all the way down. Rotate your heels the other way. Lift your left arm up, forearm side plank. And then we'll come back into side plank on the left hand. So lower the left hand down, push into it, lift up, rotate your heels to the left arm, top arm reaches up. And again, forearm side plank. So lower the right forearm down, rotate the heels around to the right, and your left arm comes up. One more time. Place the left hand down, push into it, push off of the forearm, rotate your heels the other way, lift your right arm up. And we're going to come down into just a forearm plank. So lower your right forearm down, lower the left forearm down. Here we are, forearm plank. Just pause here and breathe. Hovering the thighs. Tailbone is lengthening down towards your heels. Find an ujjayi. This ujjayi breath, where your breath sounds a little more like if you had a seashell against your ear, it would sound kind of like that. Except there's probably some shaking going on. One more breath. Lower your thighs, lower your hips, tops of the feet down, Sphinx pose, just stretch that out. Broaden across your collarbones. We're not going to do a lot of back bends in this practice today, but I like to throw in just a few soft ones just to get a nice, well-rounded practice, moving the spine in all directions. So we're going to take this back to dolphin. Curl your toes under, lift your hips again. Now walk your forearms back, keeping your forearms parallel, and bend your knees and walk your feet in. Heels are high, knees are bent. This isn't about stretching the hamstrings. It's about opening through the shoulders. So push into the base of your thumbs and move your ribs back towards your thighs. Keep your sit bones high. Keep your knees bent. Now we're going to go into a one-legged dolphin, and if you know, you'll be more stable if you clasp your hands. You can do that. I actually like to bring my thumb and index fingers together, create a diamond shape, and that helps me to stabilize the foundation here. So walk the feet in a little more, get the hips a little higher over your shoulders, and let's lift the right leg up into the air. Now if you have an inversion practice here and you want to kick up, you can. If you're working on inverting, just try hopping a few times and get some air time. Maybe get a second or two of air time. So push into the hands, hop up, see if you can stay up in balance for just a second or two before you land lightly back down. And do this about one more time. And lower down and come into child's pose. Forehead down. Let everything soften here. Let the arms soften down. Let the spine reach back. All right, I hate to break it to you, but we've got one more side. I know it feels lovely to be here, but up we go. We came here to practice. Curl your toes under, downward dog. Do you remember that whole sequence? Because we'll see if I do. I'm kidding, I'm pretty sure I do. Here we go. Left leg rises behind you. Having said that, I'll probably mess it up. Let's step the left foot forward between the hands. Inhale, rise up. Don't worry. I've been teaching for 13 years, so I still mess up sometimes, but I try really hard not to. Let's take this to warrior two. So your left knee is bent 90 degrees. The inner edge of the knee points forward. Soften through the shoulder blades. And then let's reverse our warrior inhale. And then forearm to thigh side angle pose. Try to move the center of your back. So back where the kidneys are, they're just below the ribs, kind of in the center of the back. And let the breath fill that space out. Now you can either stay here on your forearm. This is a nice way to express this pose. If you know you have more space in the hips and the low back, you can grab your block, place it outside the left foot, hand on the block, and your top arm reaches up and over. Now push into the back foot. Get really active in the back leg, and then turn the heart open, reach through the top arm, and breathe. The challenge here is keeping the breath very smooth and even. One more breath. And you're going to push into the heel, rise up, warrior two. And then find warrior two the other direction. So your right toes turn to face the back of the mat. Right arm reaches up, reverse your warrior. And then straighten your front leg, triangle pose, Trikonasana. Right hand on shin, left arm reaches up. You can do right hand on a block if you like, or right hand to floor. Don't think of it as a contest to get your hand as far down, your right hand as far down to the floor as you can. Mostly you're looking to create space in your body. So if hand on the floor automatically creates constriction and the breath just does not flow as easily and you're straining, give yourself a break. It's just yoga. It's not a contest. Hand on shin. Lengthen through the arms and through the spine. And then let's inhale, come up. And you'll parallel your feet. Weight is positioned equally in both feet. Let's go for shoulder stretch this time. Interlace the fingers behind you. Inhale, press the knuckles down as you lift your heart. Don't lock the back of the knees. Hinge forward from the thigh creases. Let the head come down. Soft bend in the knees. Let the arms come up and over. Can you relax the base of your skull down? Can you breathe laterally into the side ribs? One more breath here. So if you have the arms overhead behind you, release them back down to the floor. Walk your hands over towards your front leg, your left leg, and bring your hands to the outer ankle. Pause here. You're trying to line your spine up with your left leg. You can stay here with the hands at the outer ankle or shin, or wrap your arms tightly, big bear hug around the left thigh. Crown of your head is pointing towards the left foot. You can always bend this knee here. Don't create strain in the body. Bend the knee if you need to. Modify if you need to. Hands can be on floor or block. And then let's release the hug of the leg. Hands to the floor. Turn your left toes forward. Bend the knee 90 degrees. And then let's reach the arm out at a long diagonal over the top right corner of the mat. So if you look at your feet, your heels are pretty much lined up. You're pretty much lined up heel to heel. And then reach your upper body at a diagonal over the right corner of the mat. And hug the outer left hip in. If you could look down from the ceiling at your body, you'd see that your left thigh bone is parallel to the long edge of your mat. Push into the back foot. The ribs soften down. And we're going to see if we can go for our bound side angle pose. So again, I'll show you half bound. You bring the forearm to thigh, left forearm to thigh, and your right arm wraps around behind you. And you're working on drawing your top shoulder back and turning your torso. Kind of like rotating your torso like a rotisserie. And then if you want to try full bind, you slide the left shoulder down inside of the knee, and then the left arm comes under you. Clasp the hands, if you can, outside the hip. And then once you get that, the upper body will be angled kind of forward to the right. See if you can reach straight over towards the front of the room, front of your mat. So your head is reaching out over the toes. Push into the back foot, Lengthen your spine, turn up through the torso and breathe. That's the trickiest thing here, is breathing. Release your hands, lower your hands to the floor, lunge. I'm just pausing here for a moment, just letting the back of the hips get wide, letting the spine get long. And then we'll go into our twist. So right hand is under the shoulder, maybe just slightly forward, very slightly, and then your left arm reaches up and you twist. Lower the outer edge of your right foot down, step the left foot back, Vashisthasana, side plank pose. And we'll come down onto our forearm side plank. So lower the left forearm down, you lift your heels and then take your heels to the other side and your right arm comes up, forearm side plank. And then back to side plank on the right hand. So push the right hand down, turn your heels the other way, lift the left arm up, regular side plank. And again, lower the left forearm down, pivot the heels around to the left, and your right arm comes up. One more time, side plank, right hand down, push off of the left forearm and lift it up as you rotate the heels to the right. And we're going to lower the left forearm down and the right forearm down and just come into forearm plank. Forearms are parallel. Legs are straight if you can. If you can, keep the legs hovering off of the floor. Lower belly is kind of lifting forward towards the navel, towards the sternum. Tailbone is reaching down. There might be some little earthquakes going on in your body right now. I'm right there with you. One more breath. Lower down to Sphinx pose. Line the elbows under the shoulders and lift up through the heart, just stretching out through the abdomen here. All right, you ready? Dolphin pose. Curl your toes, lift your knees, and let's walk the forearms back in a bit under you and walk your feet forward so your hips keep getting higher and higher. Pause in your dolphin pose for a moment. This is a great way to stretch through the shoulders. So push into the base of your thumbs, really hike your hips up, your thigh creases up, and then try to bring the ribs back closer towards your thighs. I'm not expecting the ribs to touch the thighs, but that's the idea. You're pushing down into the palms and the forearms and sending the ribs back, and that's what's going to create space in the shoulders. All right, and we'll try our one-legged dolphin. So either palms flat or interlace your fingers. I like to come into forearm stand with my thumb pads and my index finger pads pushing into each other, so it creates a diamond shape. And then you're going to lift your left leg up into the air this time. This is not my kicking leg, so this is not going to be quite as impressive. But we're going to see if we can kick up and maybe balance for a second or 2 seconds. Don't worry about toppling over. Just kick up as far as you're comfortable with. Maybe you'll come right back down onto the right foot. And now you know if you need a little bit more power. So if you can come up and hold it for a little bit longer and then come back down. Try 1 or 2 more times. Kick up. Maybe you hold it up for just a second or so before you come down. And then if you're done, let's lower the knees and come into child's pose. And just rest here for a moment. Soften through the shoulders. The shoulders did a bit of work there. And then up to a kneeling position at the back of your mat. And we're just going to stretch through the deltoids here. So just take one arm directly across the front of your body and pin it back with the other forearm. And try to bring that shoulder back that you're stretching. And then the other arm, it sweeps across the front of your body. Pin it back with the other forearm and try to draw that shoulder back that you're stretching. Downward facing dog. Let's just step the feet up to the top of the mat. Turn the toes out and your knees turn out to the side and come into a squat. Lower your hips, palms come together. And imagine that you're leaning your back up against a wall. So you're trying to get your spine more and more vertical, more weight in the heels. Might need a little bit of core engagement here so that you don't just topple backwards. You're keeping some control in this to keep the length and the lift, but without toppling down onto your bum. We'll be there in a moment. But first we're going to do a crow pose. So place the hands down about shoulder distance apart. Lift your hips up and your heels. Bring the knees high up onto the triceps. Shift forward. Weight is in your finger pads. See if you can lift your feet up into crow pose. Balancing on your hands. Elbows are bent and 90 degrees. You've just got a shelf for your knees to rest on. And now place the feet down. Lower back onto your hips and come into boat pose. And we're going to rock back into plow. So rock back onto your back, lift your hips up, catch the hips in your hands. Can you bring the toes to the floor over your head? If that creates strain in the spine or your neck, keep the legs hovering. We're going to rock back up into a squat. So rock up. Can you land on your feet? Come onto your hands, crow pose, right back where we started. Hovering the feet if you can. If you need to keep the weight on your big toes, a little bit of weight on the big toes, that's fine. If you're not quite in your crow pose practice yet, it takes a little bit of practice to find the center of gravity. So lower your heels down, lower your bum down, come into boat pose. We're going to come back into our plow or half shoulder stand. So if plow is just too big of a stretch for your spine and your neck, don't come into it. Roll onto your back, lift your hips. Maybe this is where you are with your legs angled up overhead. Maybe if you have the flexibility in the back body, the toes come to the floor. And then just rock up to boat. We're not going to come up to a squat, just rock up to boat. Take your knees out wide and hold your big toes. Try to balance here, right on the space between your tailbone and your sit bones. Just balancing, stay upright. Now can you take your legs straight out to the side in a big V shape? And bring your spine forward. This is where balance is starting to happen. Spine comes forward and you're pulling your legs back as if you're trying to bring your spine right in between your legs. Pulling back. Lift the spine. Let's bring the feet up together. Pause here and balance for just a moment. We're going to come into archer's pose here. So release the left leg down, all the way down, and then bend the right knee, bend the elbow, and pull the leg back. So I'm going to actually lift my hips up a little bit and shift more towards the front edge of the sit bones. And then bend the elbow, bend the knee, and pull the foot back towards the side of your head as if your right foot is a phone, a telephone, and you need to say something by getting the foot closer to your face. And then we reach the left hand forward. Maybe you hold the big toe, maybe you just hold on to the shin, and you're still pulling the right foot back. See if you can get it towards the side of your face. I know mine is not. And then let's lengthen the right leg forward. Paschimottanasana. If you can hold the big toes, that's just one way to do the pose, but you don't have to. You can have hands on shins or hands on the floor. Just making ourselves symmetrical here. And then we'll come back up. Lean back, lift your legs, catch your big toes right back where we started. This time release the right leg down. Keep holding on to the left toes. And now bend the left knee back, bend the elbow, pull it back. And I'm going to shift just a little forward again so I get onto the front edge of my sit bones a bit more, pulling the foot back towards the side of your head as if there's something really important you need to say. Your foot has become a telephone. You need to get it closer towards your face. And then with that knee pulling back behind you, can you reach forward towards your right foot I feel like either my right arm is too short or it's probably the side of my back. That's too tight. So if the hand does not come to the foot on this side, hold on to the shin. You're still pulling the left foot back. This is our Akarna Dhanurasana, archer's pose. And then reach the leg forward and place the foot down. Let's just do one counter pose before we come into our final tortoise pose. So hands to the floor behind you. Place your feet on the floor. That was a big forward bend, what we just did. So we're going to counter pose that. So we're just going to keep the hips down at first and lift up through the spine. Arch the spine up. Your hands are slightly rotated out. Push down into the inner edge of your hands. It should stretch across the chest, the inner arms, and we're lengthening through the front of the spine. And if you wanted to come into reverse table, lift your hips up. Look up towards the ceiling. Lower the hips down. Okay. So come on to your back. And feet to the floor under the knees. Pause here for just a moment before we do anything, before we bring the block under the hips. Just pause here for a moment. Let the hips just shift around a little bit. Shifting a little side to side, kind of like you're swiveling them almost. And then push down into the feet. And bring the block under your hips. You can have it in the low or the medium position. I'm not going to recommend block in the high position right now. We just came out of a huge forward bend. So I'm not going to bring you into an aggressive back bend right now. So let's just be comfortable with this supported, kind of a restorative bridge pose. Let the weight of your hips just sink down onto the block. Let your arms be slightly angled out to the side with the palms face up. Close your eyes and breathe. No big obvious sensations here. Hopefully it should just be kind of soft. We're really just counterposing this spine. We're not looking for any big stretching sensations in the muscles. Now, since we've got this block under us, we can go for a hip flexor stretch. So let's bring the right knee in towards you. You're going to place your fingers around the shin and extend your left leg forward. So now we're getting a little bit more, just a little bit more back bend. It's not really meant to be a back bend though. It's mostly a hip flexor stretch on the left side. You're hugging the right knee in and extending the left leg forward. And you can always adjust the block under you. You can bring it back down to the low position, or you can move it out from under you entirely. And then we will slowly switch legs. So you can switch your legs midair if you like, or bring one leg in as you release the other leg. Hugging the left leg in, slowly extend the right leg forward. Keep reaching right leg long, pulling left leg in. And then we'll bring the right foot to the floor, bring the left foot down, and remove the block. We're going to find an easy twist before Shavasana. So feet come wide to the mat, arms out to the side. You're going to slowly let the legs windshield wiper side to side. So your feet are wide, and you're just letting the knees move in sync. They're moving from side to side. The legs are somewhat wide. The arms are wide out to the side. Exhale as the legs come down. Inhale as the knees come up. Just working any tension out of the low back and the hips. Next time your legs are over to the right, let them stay there. Stay in the twist. You can be just like this with both feet on the floor, or you can place the right foot on top of the left thigh, and it'll work the twist just a little deeper. Eyes are closed here. Breath is starting to slow down. And let's release the top foot. Inhale, knees come back up. Exhale, knees over to the left. Stay here if this is enough of a twist for you. If you want deeper, your left foot comes on top of the right thigh, the outer thigh, and your left foot is now like a sandbag, weighing the right leg down, just deepening the twist a little bit. One more breath here. Release the left foot, knees come back up. Inhale, pause, pause, pause. Just be here a moment. Bring the knees together, bring the feet wide, let the arms come by your side. Turn the palms up, just be here for a moment. If this is where you want to do your shavasana, it does create a little more space in the low back. You can stay right here. Or you can start to extend your legs forward on your mat. Just in a supine position here. Slide the shoulder blades down your back. Palms are still face up, and close your eyes. You're watching the breath slow down. You're not really trying to control the breath. You're just observing it. Notice if there's tension hanging on in insidious little areas of the body. It likes to maybe hang on subconsciously. So bring your conscious awareness to the face and the jaw. Relax any tension. Slightly separate the upper and lower teeth. Let the shoulders soften down. Relax every finger in your hands. Soften through the abdomen. And release the muscles around your hips. And then you'll start to move in the fingers and the toes. Bend the knees, bring the feet to the floor. And roll over to one side, please. And press yourself up to seated. Hands come together at the heart. Close your eyes here, just notice how you feel. And then bow the head to your heart. And lift your gaze. I thank you for joining me for this turning inward introspective practice. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you soon. Namaste.